everyone, I'm Sebastian from Cinemageddon Reviews, and welcome to a new series that I like to call Stories from the Wasteland. In this series, I'll be dressing up and soldiering into COVID-infested theaters in order to check out any new releases and determine whether or not they're worth your time and money. Today, we're going to be taking a look at the Golden Globe nominated Judas and the Black Messiah. Directed by Shaka and produced by Ryan Coogler, yes, that Ryan Coogler, Judas and the Black Messiah tells the story of Bill O'Neill, an FBI informant who infiltrated the Black Panther political party in order to assist in the apprehension and eventual assassination of Black Panther leader Fred Hampton, in the hands of the FBI during the J. Edgar Hoover days. The film chronicles Bill's relationship with the FBI and Fred Hampton, or Chairman Fred as he was widely known, the rise of the Rainbow Coalition, which enlisted several organizations including the Young Patriots and Young Lords, along with several Chicago-based street gangs, the FBI investigation that went into eventually assassinating him along with several Black Panther members in cold blood, and the final interview that O'Neill gave before committing suicide in 1990. This film suffered from some real unfortunate circumstances. It was originally meant to be released on August 21st of last year, but due to COVID-19, the movie was postponed until February 12th of this year. And a real shame too, given that the movie would have been releasing in what anyone would have considered unfortunate yet also perfect timing, since it would have been 3 months after the slaying of George Floyd. The Black Panther movement was deemed a terrorist group by the US government, who ironically don't have the stones to consider the same about the Proud Boys, despite every other country in the world saying otherwise, and they conspired against the movement on multiple occasions. They had moles on the inside, forged propaganda posters, intercepted letters, interfered with their personal lives, and even harassed them outside of their own headquarters before opening fire and causing 2 people to get hospitalized. The film does a wonderful job highlighting the ugliness of the 1960s without shying away from any of the horror and savagery that many Black Americans had to suffer through at the hands of the government. Not just Black people either. Many people of different backgrounds, classes, and even races were also being held back by the government. I was 100% surprised to see that the Black Panther movement worked side by side with both redneck groups and Puerto Ricans. And when I say redneck, I mean like actual rednecks, like the kind that united in Southern pride and boasted the Confederate flag, not as a means of inciting racism, but to help fight for the rights of the oppressed and underprivileged, uniting with the Black Panthers and Young Lords with a common goal. And for the Young Lords to actually appear in this movie, seeing Jose Chacha Jimenez on the big screen amongst the rule of the Black Panther movement was something I would have never thought I'd see in a motion picture ever. If it wasn't obvious, I'm something of a history buff, so seeing this shit on screen is like candy to my eyes, and ears, and brain, but still. Historically speaking, the film does take some liberties with how it tells the events in question, but the history isn't altered or omitted in any conceivable way and without any bias. It does show that each side was extreme enough in their own way, but also that they were humans who fought for what they believed in and did everything to help their fellow man. The government, of course, is being portrayed in a very villainous light, which is more than a little warranted given the state of the country following the Trump administration in all its 4 years. And the state of the government during the Nixon administration that takes place during the time of this movie, as well as the Reagan administration, the Bush administration. You know what? Can we all just agree that the government in question is just shit? This is a fantastically shot film with excellent performances from everybody, but the true standouts of this movie had to be its main leads, Daniel Kaluuya and Lakeith Stanfield, who each shine brighter than they ever did before. There's a funny line in the movie where FBI agent Roy Mitchell says that O'Neill is great enough to be an actor warrant of an Academy Award. In condescending fashion, admittedly, but still, and honestly, he's not wrong. The man gives a lot of nuance with the way he manages to go from Black Panther radical to FBI informant, and you can see just how devastating the entire situation is, both for what he's doing, what he's contributing to, and what the eventual result is going to be. Stanfield and Kaluuya work very well off each other, which is really no surprise considering that they worked together before on Get Out. And while he excels as O'Reilly perfectly both in appearance and in performance, the true Academy Award winner in my eyes has to be Daniel Kaluuya, who transforms into Fred Hampton seemingly with absolutely no ease. Go hunt down any old footage of the man when he was alive, or just watch the movie since they show footage of him before his passing. and he had a distinct attitude and manner of communicating that is almost on point with other revolutionaries like Malcolm X and Dr. King. Kaluuya embodied every single aspect of him, from his appearance to his voice, and owns the spotlight with every scene that he's on. This is without any doubt the best performance of his career, and one of the greatest performances I've seen in a long time. The only real downside with this movie has to be the pacing. There are moments where the film either drags or slows down without much reason, and as a result, what feels like a 2-hour film actually feels even longer with the way that things are edited and put together. Mind you, this movie is not boring by any stretch, but I feel like a lot of time could have been spent to show more of what the Rainbow Coalition did as a unit, instead of focusing almost exclusively on the efforts of the Black Panther movement, which, mind you, is all historically accurate, and some of the stuff they did even I was surprised was even true to life. I also feel like the introduction with Bill's character and the motivation for why he serves as an informant felt a bit rushed, and was left without much resolution as a result of it. What do I mean by this? Because, ironically, this is all because history happened almost the same way. Well, in the film, we are introduced to him as he pretends to be an FBI agent so that he can steal another black man's car, only for them to see through his deception and attack him before he escapes. When he and Hampton try and succeed in uniting the Crowns, one of the many Chicago-based gangs that united with the Black Panthers in the late 60s, the victim of the carjacking recognizes him, but then he gets silenced immediately when he tries to get him out, and it never gets brought up again. Kinda feels like something this big would cause a huge shift within the story, but it gets ignored almost immediately. Now, admittedly, the movie does show that they don't immediately trust him at first, but I feel like the way they do go about trusting him is almost too convenient even for the logic of the movie. Aside from that, the film does live up to its name and actually shows what is quite honestly a very curious case of life imitating art, as Fred Hampton was considered by the FBI to be a quote-unquote Black Messiah, uniting the people and causing havoc among those who look down upon them. Given the fact that the one responsible for his demise is rewarded with coins and luxuries, despite the guilt eating him out on the inside and eventually committing suicide, it's almost insane how something like this actually happened. But that's what's so fascinating about history. Even the ugly parts have an interesting story to tell, for better or for worse. Judas and the Black Messiah is a wonderful film, and it is one that I will be looking at with great interest following both the Golden Globes and the eventual Academy Awards, as it is easily a great contender for both the acting, writing, and directing categories. I'm gonna give Judas and the Black Messiah a 9 out of 10. The film is now widely available in theaters everywhere, wherever it is that they're actually open, and for those unable to attend due to closures, it is also currently widely available on HBO Max as we speak. Honestly, do not skip out on this one, as it is easily one of the best of the year and one that will stay with you for a really long time. I'm Sebastian from Cinemageddon Reviews, and Black Lives Matter. Right on.